Now moving on to the conditional statements or the decision statements in your JavaScript is your if else. Okay, there are basically simple if statement, if else if statements, nested if else, and so on. So JavaScript if else statements is used to execute the code whether the condition, if the given condition is true, then only it will be applicable. If not, it is not going to apply upon it. So basically there are three forms of conditional statements in JavaScript, that those are simple if else, and nested if else, we can say. Now going with the simple if, it evaluates the content only if expression is true. If it is true, then only it will evaluate the given expression. If not, it will not enter the block and nothing will be printed for the output for the user. Okay. The signature of the JavaScript if statement is given below. If expression, here some condition we will be writing. Okay. And set of statements, whatever you want to display it, we will be displaying there. This is the flow chart of the simple if condition. The given condition we will be writing here. If the condition is true, then it will execute the statement, conditional code or set of statement, we can say, for printing or executing any of them. If it is true, then only it is applicable. If it is false, it will simply terminate. In the case of false, it will terminate the block. In case of true only, it will execute the statements there. So let's see a small example. Initially, our variable value is 20. We are checking if a is 20 is greater than 10. Since the condition is satisfying, you are writing the true statement as value of a is greater than 10. It will be outputted. So that will be the output for you by using the simple if. Now moving on to the if else part. So in this case, the content will be evaluated in both the ways, in true and the false cases. Suppose if whatever the condition we are giving, okay, if it is true, the true statement will be executed. If it is false, the else part will be evaluated and the condition will be checked. Okay. So this is another example for the if else block. We are giving the value of a as 20. We are performing the modulus of a, 20 divisible by 2. We want to find whether the given number is even or not. If it is equivalent to zeros, we will print the value to be an even number. If not, we are going to print as odd number. Since the given number is even, it is perfectly divisible by 2 and resulting the remainder as 0, then it is an even number. Now, looking into if else if you have set of conditional statements all together one after the other, at that time we will be using else if part. Many conditions will be tested one after the other. So how it will be evaluated? The content only if the expression is true from several expressions. From these several conditional statements, we will be executing only the given statement where it is true. If in case none of the expressions are true, it will going to the final else part and it will evaluate the whatever the given set of expressions are there into it. For example, in this case, we have initialized the value as 20 and I want to check if 20 is double equal to 10. As we know, it is not. So it will go and check with this. This is also not. Since at this conditional statement it is true, so we will write there as a is equal to 20. If suppose, imagine that a value is initialized to 30 here. So even in this case that is not evaluated, finally it will go with this else part. A is not equal to 10, not equal to 15, not equal to 20, and that will be printed to us at the output once I change the value. Okay. So this is how we work with the if else if statements. Now coming to the switch case, how switch case works in JavaScript is, again this is also a conditional statement with respect to the cases. Okay, as I can say here, different conditions are given here. With respect to case statements, we will be evaluating each case and perform different actions upon that particular case. Let us see one example. The syntax for this one will be, it will be using a as a keyword called as switch followed by the expression which is nothing but our given condition or any value we can initialize there. If at all it is equivalent to any of the given cases, it will go for that particular case and evaluate. Once the particular case has been executed, it will be encountering a break statement there such that it will be halting the further execution. And if none of them are executing, if none of these cases are executing at that time, by default it will go to the default case and execute whatever available statements are there for the default case. Okay, and that's how the switch case works. Now, what is a break statement that you have encountered in this switch case? Break, as I told you, we will be halting the further execution from continuing the process. So that is how the break statement or the break keyword works in your switch case. It indicates that end of a particular case. We can say that is an end of a particular case in the switch statement. If at all you are using, not in the switch case, but elsewhere in the program also, break notifies the end of a particular process or execution. Similarly, default, what is the default case there? If none of the cases are working, finally you have to go and execute for sure the default case. Now, here is an example program. We have used the expression value to be as our apple. Okay. In the case when I want to store oranges, watermelons, and finally the apples. Now, if at all this expression is equivalent to the case 1, you see that it is not equivalent. I prefer oranges, so that won't be executed. Watermelons are not equivalent to apples, so that won't be. Finally, when I come to the third case, one apple a day keeps the doctor away. So this message will be displayed to the user as the given expression and with the case it is matching, right? And once it is done, it will break the statement. If imagine that there is no case with respect to apple, think that it is a banana. And that case, none of the cases will be executed and sorry, we are out of the expressions will be displayed to you. Now, coming to the looping concepts in JavaScript, it is also a piece of code that will be executing on the iterative basis or on the continuous basis until the condition has met, right? So it's a process where we will be continuously executing the code, not for one time, not for two time, but till the condition has met. So basically we have here for loop, while loop, and do while, or we can also use for in loop. It works in a similar way of your other programming language, is iteratively. Okay. The advantage of using for looping is it performs a repetitive task with less number of codes. Yes, this is the biggest and the major advantage of using the looping statements. Now, if you see this, by using the for loop, okay, all of the 4 types you will be seeing one after the other now. First, with respect to for loop. So, in this for loop, what we are doing, the iterations will be taking place for a fixed number of times until the condition has satisfied. Once the condition is failing, it will be coming out of the loop and it will be evaluating it. Syntax is again similar. For initialization, condition, and increment will be there. Code to be executed will be in this block, and that's how the for loop will be executed. The 3 parts of the for loop is initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. Based upon the value initialized, we choose whether we need to go with an increment or a decrement. Okay, so these are the 3 parts of the for loop. So if you see here in the script, we are using the for loop. Initial value of I is 1. We will be reaching the I till 5. And since it is 1 as a smaller value, we need to increase the value. So we are choosing as increment operator there. What we have to do, we need to print the value of I one after the other. And once I print a single value, I need to break and go to the next line. That's how we are using the break tag there. And it will be printing the value till it reaches 5. And once it is reaching 5, once it encounters the next number to be 6, since 6 is not less than or not equal to 5, in this case, it holds the execution there and the process ends for the for loop. Now coming to the while loop, again the process is executed iteratively. Okay. for so many number of times until the condition has met. Okay, but in the while loop, first we check the condition, then if it is true, then only we enter the block. You see here, in the while loop, the syntax works as we check the condition first. If it is true, then only we enter the block to execute the code. And what happens here is, condition is anyway valid. Test the expression that may use the logical operators that is enclosed within the parenthesis. Yes. So here if you see an example, we have initialized a variable I value as 11 and we are checking, is 11 less than or equal to 15? Yes, it is true. So until this condition is satisfying, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now 16, once it come, since it is not less than not equal to 15, at that time it halts the execution of printing the values. So it will print the values from 11 to 15. Okay. First, what is happening here in the while loop? Condition is being tested, then only the values will be printed. Only in case if it is true, then only it will be printed. Now coming to the do while, it's one of the trivial of the loops. Okay, what I can say here is, first do is the keyword that will be simply used and while is also a keyword, but here the condition will be tested at the end. You see an example here, we are using initializing the variable value as I as 21. Now I want to print the values of I from 21 till where? Till 25. But here the condition is not tested in the beginning. The condition is tested at the end. So the drawback of do while loop is, even if the condition is failing, okay, the output, you can see the outcome at least for once the outcome will be available even if the condition is failing. For in, the fourth type of the looping statements here we are having as for in loop, okay, which is used to iterate the properties of an object. So it provides a variation of a loop known as for loop only, okay, and this can be used to extract the names and the values of any object. You can be seeing this in an example here. You see here we are using a variable name, in some object name is given to you. So in is an operator we are going to use in the for in loops. This is the syntax given to you. Let us see an example. Now, in this, if you see, text is my variable name, and we are using some numbers here by storing some values of it. Now, I is for indexing, and this is my variable, right? Number is my variable, number is my variable, text is some variable again. Now, I want to give the value as get element data. You will be printing the data, okay? As and when, however the given values are there, it will be printing continuously till where? Till all the numbers has been executed, till it reaches the end of the particular stack, I can say, or the array, I can say. Here basically we are not denoting or using the term as an array for it. We are just storing the values into it, okay, data we can say. For printing it on the continuous basis, we are using the for n, and in that variable, whatever the value, it can be even a string value that can be printing on its own, okay. That's how the for in loop executes. Now coming to the functions concept in JavaScript, it is used to perform the operation. We call it as a JavaScript function many times to reuse the code. The working methodology, working of the JavaScript functions is also similar to the others that we use in our C language or C++. That is, reuse the code as many times as possible, as many times as required. That is a major functionality of it. What are the advantages of JavaScript functions? It is useful for organizing the different parts of the script, okay, into the several tasks to complete it easily. That is a major and the biggest advantage we can say. Code reusability is the advantage of the functions, and less coding. Yes, as a small amount of code has been repetitively used as many times as required, then definitely we will be using the less amount of code only. And those are the functionalities of using functions. So rules for naming the functions, again it must be case sensitive. It will be using alphabetical values from either A to Z, both in the capital letters and small letters, and underscore must be used for using spaces. The spaces cannot be identified here, no spaces are allowed, and you cannot use as a reverse word. It cannot be used as a reserved words, like keywords cannot be used. Okay, we are not supposed to use the keywords for our function name. So these are the rules that we need to remember for using the functions. How to declare the function? Declaration of the function to be done by using the keyword called as function, followed by its name and set of arguments. If you see here, syntax of it, function is a keyword, function name. Suppose in this place I want to write as sum, set of arguments a comma b. If those are my two arguments, I can make use of them. So this is the syntax for it. In this example, function is the keyword, message is the function name, no arguments, simply use the parenthesis there, and you are writing a alert message there, hello, this is the message, whatever you want to display there. Okay, so as soon as the function call has been made, that alert message will be displayed to the user. Now, with respect to the function arguments, suppose get cube. I want to find the cube of this given number. Let the given number be 2. Here, whatever the number we are inputting, upon clicking, you are inputting some number there. So, given number is 4 there. 4 cube, whatever the value of 4 cube is there, it will be given to the output. Now, returning the value by using a function. How can we return a value? By using return keyword here. So it will be returning the value for the user. Hello, Java point, how are you? So that information, as soon as you are using the return keyword, it will be displayed to the user there. So that is the output of the return statement. Now coming to the function objects, the purpose of the function objects is function constructors. It is used for creating the new function objects and for using it globally. Okay, so the usage of the function objects are global. You can create the new objects for new storage, new memory allocation. So it can be created dynamically, but it is not a secure way of creating the objects. It is a very unsecure way of creating the objects. So parameters can be argument. So these are the parameters or arguments we can say. New is the keyword again. Whatever the function name you want to use, you will be using there. And these are few of the methods that we use in the functions: apply, bind, call, and toString. What does apply do? It is used to call a function contains this value and a single array of arguments. So it will be applying the array of arguments onto it and it will be displaying. Binding is it is going to create a new function as and when required. Call, making a function call to set the values and the argument list for it. ToString is a method that is used to return the result in a form of a string. If you want to return a string value as an outcome, that time you will be using ToString, converting the data into string format. Now, recursion function. So to understand the concept of recursion, what is a recursion? Basically, a function calling itself again and again until the condition is satisfied. We use the concept of recursive functions. So in the following example, what do we do here? Test count will be recursively calling itself until we are performing the calculation of it. You see an example here. I'm using a package called as main and I'm importing that FMT, that is my package. Initially, variable of x has been given to you and we are going to print the values of x continuously from 1 until we have reached the value as 11. Once 11 has been encountered, it will be halting the printing of it, and that's how the function called as test count continuously calling itself again and again. So this is a process of recursion that we see in our functions. So recursion is a common mathematical operation, we can say, or a concept that helps us to benefit in creating or looping the data as many times as required until the result has been encountered. So the developers should be very careful while using the recursion functions, as it can be quite easy and slip into a writing a function which never terminates. So you must be very careful as a developer for using the recursions in JavaScript, because it is very user friendly, but in sometimes it will be ending into a process of never ending process, right? So that uses excess amounts of memory and the processors into it. Large amount of power supply will be used. That's how, when written correctly, recursion can be very efficient and mathematically elegant approach in programming. But if at all any mistakes has been done in it, then it will be going to be a very trivial concept. So you must be very careful when while using the recursion concepts, and you will see the execution of it.